the emblem of the Pinkerton Incorporated Detective Agency, depicting an eye that sees all, and the motto, "We Never Sleep," became an integral part of the American history. For 150 years of the existence of the company founded by Allan Pinkerton, the legends about it have been interwoven with reality so closely that sometimes it is difficult to understand where the truth finishes and the fantasy starts. Allan Pinkerton, the founder of the detective agency, was born in the Scottish city of Glasgow in 1819. His father, a poor weaver, died when Allan was 8 years old, and he had to forget about school and studies. Pinkerton the Jr. got a job as an apprentice with a weaver and then with a cooper. At the age of 20, Allan became an active member of the Chartist movement. When the authorities decided to arrest the rabble-rouser, Pinkerton packaged his belongings and he and his young wife went aboard a ship bound for the United States. In America, Pinkerton settled in a small town near Lake Michigan at first. There, he opened his own barrel-making workshop. Once, Allan was looking for the material suitable for his barrels on the bank of a desert island when he found a smoldering campfire. He thought that it was suspicious. He had waited in the bushes for 3 nights before his curiosity was rewarded. Some suspicious people who turned out to be counterfeiters gathered near the fire. With the help of the local sheriff, the swindlers were arrested, and the rumor about Pinkerton's observation and quick-wittedness spread over the county fast. Then the local merchants asked him to shadow and arrest a swindler who forged invoices. The police appreciated Pinkerton's talent and offered him the position of Chicago's deputy sheriff. Allan agreed, but the aspiration for justice didn't allow him to put up with the dependence of policemen on both the local authorities and the leaders of the criminal world. In 1850, Pinkerton founded his own company under the high-profile title, the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. There were only 11 men on the staff in the agency at that time. Pinkerton's employees, who were called Pinks in jest, were not only desperate daredevils, aces of disguise, and excellent marksmen, but also understood the psychology of criminals very well. The agency was so successful that by the beginning of the 1860s, Pinkerton opened some subsidiaries outside Chicago. People in Washington got interested in the talented detective too. In 1861, America was on the threshold of the Civil War. While investigating the sabotage on the railroad in Baltimore, Pinkerton uncovered an assassination plot against the president. The detective warned Lincoln of the danger, and the president train went through Baltimore without stopping. When Lincoln passed the place of a possible attempt upon his life safely, Pinkerton sent to Washington the following telegram: "The plums have been delivered with stones safe." After this case, Pinkerton's name was on everybody's lips. But the conspirators never appeared in court, and evil wishers spread a rumor that Pinkerton invented the attempt upon the president to raise his own popularity. At the beginning of the war between the North and the South, the agency became the prototype of today's CIA for a while. Pinkerton himself went to the enemy's rear and got the information about the number of the Southern troops, and his agents managed to find beautiful Rose Greenhow, to whom the staff officers, in love, handed the secret information about military operations. Allan Pinkerton pretended to be an admiring staff officer, arrested Rose, and found a notebook with the lists of couriers and Southern agents. But Pinkerton's passion was criminal cases and not politics. After the war, Pinkerton's sons Robert and William helped him. At that time, bank and mail train robberies were quite frequent. Gangs were often headed by law enforcement officers themselves. Pinkerton's agency was one of the few organizations that managed to withstand corruption. The activities of the Pinks gradually became legendary. Cheap booklets and bright bindings explaining about adventures of Nat Pinkerton contributed to it a great deal. The main character was copied from the chief of the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. Allan Pinkerton brought a lot of innovations into criminalistics. He was the first to compile a dictionary of thieves, cant, hired Kate Warren, the first woman detective, started using photographs to identify criminals, and compiled the card index of murderers, rapists, and swindlers that was the first in the history of the American science of crime detection. Having lived a life full of dangers, Allan Pinkerton died a natural death on the 1st of July, 1884. After his death, the detective agency changed hands many times, but it saved the name of its founder, Pinkerton, on its signboard. Now there are 250 subsidiaries of the agency in 20 countries. They ensure the safety of the Olympic Games, Formula One, and Oscar awarding ceremonies.